Hello, welcome to Reading with Ruby. I'm Ruby, and this is my dad.
Hello. So, Ruby, what is Reading with Ruby all about?
It's about you guys to listen to us read stories and having fun. And
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Today's story is Mog and the Baby.
Now, those who don't know, Mog is a cat. Hey.
Yeah.
These very famous Mog stories. So what are we going to do with this one?
And so I'm going to read the first page, then Dad's going to read the next.
So we have turns at reading pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
One day, Mog was playing with Nikki.
Debbie was going to school, Mr. Thomas was going to work, but Nikki had a cold.
Mog and Nikki played catch the string. Then they played bad dogs. Then they played tickle Mog's tummy. And then they played ball.
Suddenly, they heard a noise. It was a crying noise. It was a very loud crying noise. Mrs. Thomas said, "Look who's here." Mrs. Clutterbuck had brought us her baby. We're going to look after it while she goes shopping.
The baby looked at Mog and stopped crying. It said, "Psst," instead. "It's trying to say puss," said Mrs. Thomas. "Will my baby be all right with your cat?" said Mrs.
Clutterbuck? What's that again? Clutterbuck?
Cluckerbuck.
No, Clutterbuck.
Cluckerbuck. Oh, yes, said Mrs. Thomas. Mog loves babies.
But Mog and Nikki had to stop playing ball because the baby did not know how to play. "I've got a very good idea," said Mrs. Thomas. "Let's take the baby for a ride in the pram."
The baby liked riding in the pram. It said, "Psst." "I've got a baby in a pram too," said Nikki. Mog said nothing, but she was not happy.
So the little baby, Mog the cat, is getting pushed in a pram like the baby is. When they came back, it was lunchtime, but the baby did not want to eat its lunch. It said, "Psst," and it cried. It cried so much that Mog did not want to eat her lunch either.
She went away and sat in her basket. She sat in her basket and tried to think of other things while Mrs. Thomas and Nikki cleared the dishes. The baby found a dish to clear too.
So the baby's eating Mog's fish out of the cat bowl.
"Look what it's done," said Nikki. "Oh dear," said Mrs. Thomas. "Perhaps the baby would like a rest."
But the baby did not want a rest. It said, "Puss, puss, 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 puss," and it cried. "It wants Mog," said Mrs. Thomas. "Will Mog be all right with the baby?" said Nikki. "Oh, yes," said Mrs. Thomas. "Mog loves babies."
Mog sat in her basket and the baby stopped crying. It was nice and quiet when the baby stopped crying. It was so quiet that Mog fell asleep. She had a dream. It was a lovely dream. It was a dream about babies. Like, so there's heaps of really cute little babies. There's a ginger one. There's one just like Mog, and it's kind of black and white and grey with a little bit of orange.
Suddenly, she woke up. Mog thought, "This baby is everywhere." She thought, "I'm getting out of here." And the reason why Mog woke up is because the
baby was on her tail. Mog ran across the road, but the baby was coming after her, and a bad dog was waiting on the other side. And there was a car coming.
So the baby is trying to chase the cat, and the cat's run across the road.
"There's my baby!" shouted Miss
Clutterbuck.
Cluckerbuck. "There's Mog!" shouted Debbie. "There's only one way
to go,
thought Mog. And she jumped away from the dog. She jumped away from the car. She bumped into the baby. The baby flew through the air and came down on the pavement. It said, "Puss." Mr. Thomas stopped the car just in time.
My baby, oh my baby, said Mrs. Clutterbuck. It's a silly baby, said Nicky. It shouldn't have run onto the road. Mog saved it, said Debbie. She's a very brave cat, said Nicky. She's the bravest cat in the world. She's the baby-saving cat, and she should get a reward. So they all went to get Mog a reward. It was a very big reward. It was a reward from Mrs. Clutterbuck.
Mog saved my baby from being run over, said Mrs. Clutterbuck.
Yeah!
I told you, said Mrs. Thomas. Mog loves babies. No, she doesn't. That's the end of the story. That was Reading with Ruby. See you next time.